Captain Jake Miller stood on the bridge of the USS Odyssey, watching the stars stretch into lines as his ship dropped out of hyperspace. In front of him, the Catharian border loomed like an invisible wall in space. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Catharians, and everyone felt the weight of the moment. "Captain, we've reached the coordinates," said Lieutenant Dave Brooks, his navigation officer. "Catharian ships are approaching." Jake nodded. "Open a channel. Let Ambassador Taylor know it's time." Ambassador Lisa Taylor entered the bridge, carrying herself with the calm confidence of someone who had spent years preparing for this moment. Her assistant, Sam Cooper, followed close behind with a datapad full of notes. The main screen flickered to life, showing 3 sleek Catharian vessels. They looked like silver needles against the black of space. A moment later, the screen changed to show the Catharian delegation. Jake had seen pictures, but seeing them in person was different. The Catharians were tall, with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Their leader, High Commander Vexillar, had eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. "Greetings from Earth," Lisa said, stepping forward. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and mutual understanding." Vexillar tilted his head, a gesture that seemed almost mocking. "So these are the humans we've heard about. You are smaller than expected." Jake felt his crew tense at the insult, but Lisa didn't miss a beat. "We believe that true strength isn't measured in size but in character." The negotiations moved to a neutral space station. Jake, Lisa, and a small diplomatic team transported over, including Security Chief Mike Russell and Cultural Advisor Emma Collins. The Catharian delegation waited in a grand chamber decorated with their symbols of power. Everything about their body language screamed superiority. "We acknowledge your request for trade routes through our territory," Vexillar said, looking down at Lisa from his elevated seat. "But what can your primitive species offer us in return?" Emma leaned toward Jake and whispered, "They're testing us, trying to establish dominance." Lisa remained professional. "We offer technology exchange, cultural programs, and medical advances that could benefit both our peoples." The Catharians laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Your medicine, your technology. We mastered space travel when your ancestors still lived in caves." Jake clenched his fists but kept his face neutral. This wasn't going as planned. The meeting continued for hours, with the Catharians dismissing every human proposal. Just when it seemed they might make some progress, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. "What's happening?" Jake demanded, reaching for his communicator. Before anyone could answer, the chamber doors burst open. Catharian soldiers in black armor stormed in, weapons raised. But these weren't regular military, their armor bore different markings. "Nobody move," the lead soldier shouted. Vexillar stood, looking genuinely surprised. "What is the meaning of this? These are diplomatic talks. The Purity Brigade does not recognize diplomacy with inferior species," the soldier replied. He turned to the humans. "You will come with us." Jake's training kicked in. "We're here under diplomatic protection. This is a violation of..." A weapon fired, and Mike Russell crumpled to the ground, stunned but alive. The message was clear. "3 of you will come as our guests," the soldier said, pointing at Lisa, Emma, and Sam. "The rest may return to your ship with a message for your people." Jake stepped forward. "Take me instead. I'm the captain." "No. We want those who speak for humanity, those who think they can negotiate with their betters." The extremists dragged Lisa, Emma, and Sam away. Jake tried to follow but was thrown back by an energy field. "Tell your leaders," the soldier called back, "that the Catharian people will never lower themselves to deal with primitives." As the doors sealed shut, Jake helped Mike to his feet. His mind raced with options, but one thought burned brightest. These Catharians had no idea what they'd just done. They had taken his people. They had insulted humanity. They had started something they couldn't possibly understand. And they would learn why the galaxy would soon whisper warnings about angering humans. Commander Ryan Davis sat across from the Catharian High Council, his face calm despite the rage burning inside him. 2 days had passed since the kidnapping, and every attempt to contact the extremists had failed. We demand the immediate release of our people, Ryan said, his voice steady but firm. This act of aggression will not be tolerated. High Counselor Zaxxon waved two of his four hands dismissively. The Purity Brigade acts independently. We cannot control their actions. Cannot or will not? Ryan asked, leaning forward. These extremists operate in your territory. They use your technology. Are you telling me the mighty Catharian Empire is powerless against a group of rebels? Another counselor, Krelmar, spoke up. Perhaps if your species were not so weak, your diplomats would not have been taken so easily. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he maintained his composure. I'll ask one more time. Will you help us recover our people? The Catharian High Council does not negotiate with inferior species about internal matters, Zaxxon declared. This meeting is over. Back on the USS Odyssey, Ryan reported to Admiral Kate Johnson via secure channel. Her holographic image flickered in the command center. They're refusing to cooperate, Ryan explained. They claim the Purity Brigade is beyond their control, but I don't believe it for a second. Kate's expression hardened. I've already mobilized the fleet. The 7th and 9th battle groups are en route, but I want to try one more diplomatic approach. Admiral, with respect, they're not listening, Ryan protested. Not to us, perhaps, but the Galactic Council might have more influence. Hours later, Ambassador Taylor's recorded message played before the assembled representatives of the Galactic Council. Her voice, captured just days before her kidnapping, filled the chamber. We come seeking peace and cooperation, her image said. Humanity has always believed in the power of diplomacy over force. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The Vexian ambassador, a spider-like creature with multiple eyes, addressed the Catharian representative. Your people have committed a grave error. Release the humans immediately. The Catharian Empire does not take orders from the Council, the representative replied arrogantly. The draconian ambassador, resembling a humanoid lizard, stood up. You should heed this warning. We have dealt with humans before. They are not what they appear to be. What could these soft pink creatures possibly do? The Catharians scoffed. The chamber fell silent as the elder Morian ambassador rose. His crystalline form glowed with age and wisdom. 200 years ago, my people made the same mistake. We thought humans weak because they preferred peace. We were wrong. They talk, they negotiate, they smile, the draconian added. But when you harm their own, they become something else entirely, something terrifying. The Catharian laughed. Ghost stories to frighten children. We fear no one. Back on the Odyssey, Admiral Johnson appeared on screen again. The Council has officially condemned the Catharian actions, but they refuse to release our people. Captain Jake Miller, who had been listening silently, finally spoke. Admiral, request permission to begin Operation Hellfire. Kate studied him for a long moment. Jake, I know you want revenge for your crew, but not revenge. Admiral, rescue and a lesson they won't forget. In the depths of Catharian space, the kidnapped humans sat in their cell. Lisa Taylor examined their surroundings while Emma Collins comforted Sam Cooper, who had been roughed up during questioning. They keep asking about Earth's defenses, Emma whispered. They're planning something bigger. Lisa nodded grimly. They think taking us will intimidate humanity into submission. The cell door opened, and a Catharian guard entered. Your people have abandoned you. No rescue is coming. Lisa stood up slowly, a strange smile on her face. You really don't understand humans at all, do you? Outside, undetected by Catharian sensors, the human fleet gathered. Ship after ship dropped out of hyperspace, forming a wall of steel and determination. The rescue mission was about to begin, and with it, the Catharians would learn why the galaxy's elder races had tried to warn them. They would learn what humans were truly capable of when pushed too far. Navy Lieutenant Eric Smith checked his gear one last time before boarding the stealth shuttle. His team of 12 Special Forces operators moved with practiced silence, their faces hidden behind advanced combat helmets. Remember, this is a rescue mission, Eric reminded them. We get our people out first. Everything else is secondary. The shuttle slipped through Catharian space like a ghost, its advanced cloaking technology hiding it from enemy sensors. They had spent 2 days planning this operation, using intelligence gathered by spy drones. Inside the Catharian prison complex, Lisa Taylor noticed the lights flicker for just a moment. She glanced at Emma and Sam, giving them a subtle nod. Something was happening. The door to their cell exploded inward. Through the smoke, 3 figures in black armor rushed in. "Ambassador Taylor?" a filtered voice asked. "Lieutenant Smith, United Earth Navy. We're here to get you out." As they moved through the corridors, Eric's team encountered heavy resistance. Catharian guards poured in from all directions, their energy weapons lighting up the hallways. "Sir, they're trying to box us in," Sergeant Paul Adams reported, firing his rifle around a corner. "Push through," Eric ordered. "Beta team, cover our exit." They reached an interrogation room and Eric's blood ran cold. Inside they found evidence of torture, tools stained with human blood, recording devices and medical equipment clearly used for causing pain. "My God," whispered Corporal Jenny Lee, photographing everything. "They've been torturing our people." Eric's voice was ice. "Download everything. Command needs to see this." Back on the USS Odyssey, Captain Jake Miller watched the rescue operation unfold on tactical displays. When the images from the interrogation room came through, the bridge fell silent. "Those bastards," Dave Brooks muttered, his hands shaking on his console. Jake's face hardened into something his crew had never seen before. "Open a channel to all ships." His voice carried across the fleet. "You've all seen what they did to our people. The Catharians think we're weak. They think we're primitive. Today, we show them how wrong they are." Chief Engineer Amy Walker had been working nonstop since the kidnapping. Now she unveiled her creation to the command staff. "I call it the Nightmare Projector," she explained, showing holographic schematics. "It uses their own neural frequencies against them. Instead of physical damage, it creates personalized fear responses. Psychological warfare," Jake realized. "Hit them where it really hurts." "Exactly. Every Catharian will experience their worst fears made real. And the beauty is, it leaves no physical trace." The rescue team burst onto the prison roof where extraction shuttles waited. Catharian fighters screamed overhead, but human escort ships engaged them immediately. "Get the ambassadors on board now," Eric shouted over the chaos. As Lisa Taylor climbed aboard, she turned to Eric. "Lieutenant, they were planning to use us as leverage. They want Earth's defense codes." "They won't get them," Eric assured her. "And after today, they'll never try this again." The shuttles lifted off under heavy fire but made it back to the fleet. As medical teams rushed to treat the rescued diplomats, Jake called an emergency meeting. "They tortured our people," he began, his voice quiet but filled with controlled fury. "They plan to use them against Earth. They've shown us no mercy, no honor, no basic decency." He looked around at his officers. "I'm done playing nice. Who's with me?" Every hand in the room went up. "Admiral Johnson has authorized Operation Hellfire," Jake continued. "We're going to show the Catharians why humans have a special place in hell reserved for those who harm our own." Amy activated her new weapon systems. "The Nightmare Projector is online. All ships report ready." "Sir," Communications Officer Helen Park announced. "The Catharian High Council is demanding we leave their space immediately." Jake smiled coldly. "Tell them we're just getting started. Form attack pattern Delta. Target their military installations." First, as the human fleet moved into formation, the Catharians would soon discover that humans weren't just another species to be bullied and dominated. They were about to learn why even ancient civilizations spoke in whispers about humanity's dark side. Colonel Jackson Turner watched his assault ships break through Catharian defense lines. The enemy's formations crumbled under tactics they had never encountered before. "Sir, they're confused," reported Major Alice Chen. "They can't adapt to our strategy." Jackson nodded. "They fight by rigid rules. We don't. Hit them from 3 sides simultaneously." The human ships moved like a wolf pack, striking and retreating before the Catharians could respond. Each attack targeted critical systems, leaving the enemy ships helpless but intact. On the planet below, Lieutenant Maria Garcia led her squad through the shadows of the Catharian capital. They moved like ghosts, avoiding main streets and using maintenance tunnels the Catharians had forgotten existed. "Command center is 2 blocks ahead," whispered Sergeant Tom Bradley, checking his scanner. "Light security. They don't expect ground forces." Maria smiled grimly. "They think their orbital defenses will protect them. They think wrong." At Catharian Military Command, General Voxtal stared at his displays in disbelief. "How are they everywhere at once? Our sensors show their fleet in multiple locations." "Sir, we're detecting false signatures," his aide reported. "The humans are using decoys." "Impossible. Our technology is superior." Outside, Maria's team reached the command center. They didn't use the front door. Instead, they entered through waste disposal systems, emerging inside the building's lower levels. "Remember," Maria whispered, "we need their command codes intact. No lethal force unless necessary." The squad moved up through the building like smoke, neutralizing guards with stun weapons. They reached the main control room just as General Voxtal realized his mistake. "Humans in the building," he shouted, but it was too late. Maria's team burst in, taking control within seconds. "General Voxtal, you're now our guest," she announced. "Order your forces to stand down." "Never," he snarled. Maria activated her communicator. "Captain Miller, we have the command center. Activating the nightmare projector now." Across the planet, Catharian soldiers suddenly stopped fighting. Their 4 eyes widened in terror as the projector activated. Each one saw something different, something personal, something terrifying. One soldier saw his children turning to dust. Another watched his ancestors rise from their graves in disappointment. A third experienced the sensation of drowning in space, alone and forgotten. The beauty of Amy Walker's invention was its precision. It didn't kill. It didn't maim. It simply found each Catharian's deepest fear and made it real in their mind. "What have you done?" General Voxtal demanded, watching his soldiers collapse in panic. "We've shown you our special hell," Maria replied, "the place we reserve for those who torture innocents." In space, the Catharian fleet experienced similar horrors. Pilots abandoned their posts, screaming about monsters only they could see. Ships drifted helplessly as crews huddled in corners, trapped in their own nightmares. Colonel Turner observed the chaos with satisfaction. "Status report. All enemy ships disabled," Alice reported. "0 casualties on either side." "That's the point," Jackson said. "We could have destroyed them. Instead, we chose to teach them." On the High Council's command ship, Counselor Zaxxon experienced his own personal hell. He saw his empire crumbling, his people enslaved, his legacy forgotten. When the vision faded, he found himself on his knees, trembling. Captain Jake Miller's face appeared on their main screen. "Now do you understand? We came in peace. You chose war. We could have annihilated you, but we chose to show mercy." "Mercy?" Zaxxon gasped. "You call this mercy?" "Yes," Jake replied coldly, "because everyone will recover. No one died, but you'll remember this day forever. You'll remember what happens when you anger humans." The nightmare projector shut down after 30 minutes. Catharian soldiers and sailors slowly returned to reality, shaken but unharmed. They looked at each other with new understanding. Humans weren't weak. They weren't primitive. They were something far more dangerous, a species that could destroy your mind while leaving your body untouched. General Voxtal slumped in his chair. "What do you want from us?" "Simple," Maria answered. "Never harm a human again. Never take what isn't yours. And spread the word. Humans have a special place in hell, and we're willing to share it with anyone who hurts our people." Commander Ashley Brown stood on the bridge of the USS Phantom, studying the reports from across Catharian space. The nightmare projector had done its work, but she knew the job wasn't finished. "Phase 2 begins now," she announced to her crew. "Let's show them what human creativity really means." Across the Catharian homeworld, strange things began happening. Soldiers reported seeing human children playing in secure military bases, only to vanish when approached. Catharian commanders received messages from their own dead relatives, warning them about human vengeance. In the capital city, every public screen suddenly displayed scenes from Earth's horror movies. The Catharians, who had never developed the concept of horror entertainment, watched in confusion and growing dread. "Commander," reported Lieutenant Frank Harris, "the Catharian networks are flooded with our ghost stories, urban legends, and creepypastas. Their culture has no frame of reference for this." Ashley nodded. "Good. Let them experience what humans find scary. It's just the beginning." Captain Kevin Peterson led his special unit through the Catharian countryside. They didn't attack or destroy. Instead, they left signs of their presence, footprints that appeared and disappeared, whispers in empty rooms, shadows that moved when no one was there. "Sir, the locals are starting to panic," Corporal Nina Rodriguez reported. "They think their world is haunted." "That's the idea," Kevin replied. "Psychological warfare isn't just about fear. It's about uncertainty. They'll never feel safe again." In the Catharian Ministry of Science, Dr. Krelvar desperately tried to explain the phenomena. "These are tricks, illusions," he insisted to his colleagues. But when his own reflection in the mirror smiled at him with human teeth, even he began to doubt. Dr. Stephen Moore, humanity's chief psychological warfare specialist, monitored everything from the USS Odyssey. "We're not just scaring them," he explained to Captain Miller. "We're reshaping their entire worldview." "How so?" Jake asked. "The Catharians built their superiority complex on logic and order. We're introducing chaos, supernatural elements, things that defy explanation. It's breaking their fundamental understanding of reality." Reports came in from across Catharian territory. Soldiers refused to patrol at night. Scientists quit their posts. Government officials locked themselves in their homes. High Counselor Zaxxon called an emergency meeting. "We must negotiate," he declared, his voice shaking. "The humans, they're not like other species." "What do you mean?" asked Counselor Dextor. "They don't just defeat enemies, they break minds. They make reality itself uncertain." The psychological campaign reached its peak when every Catharian simultaneously experienced the same vision. A vast, dark place filled with human eyes, all watching, all judging. In this shared nightmare, they heard a collective human voice. "This is our special hell. You've seen only a fraction of it." When the vision ended, Catharian society had changed forever. Children were afraid of the dark. Adults jumped at shadows. Their once proud military cowered in their barracks. Commander Ashley Brown contacted the Catharian High Council. "Are you ready to talk now?" "Yes," Zaxxon practically begged. "Make it stop. We'll do anything." First, a formal apology for torturing our diplomats, Ashley demanded. Second, reparations. Third, you'll sign a treaty promising never to harm humans again. "We agree to everything," Zaxxon said quickly. "Just, please, no more." Dr. Moore smiled as he watched the Catharians crumble. "You see, Captain, we didn't need to destroy their cities or kill their people. We just had to show them what humans are capable of imagining." Jake nodded slowly. "They thought our diplomacy was weakness. They didn't realize it was restraint." As the psychological warfare campaign wound down, the Catharians emerged from their homes looking at the sky fearfully. Every shadow seemed threatening. Every unexpected sound made them jump. They had learned the hard way that humans didn't need advanced weapons or superior technology to win a war. They had something far more powerful, the ability to turn imagination into a weapon, to make the unreal feel real, to create a special hell tailored perfectly for their enemies. The galaxy would soon hear about what happened here, and the message would be clear: never anger the humans. The Catharian High Council chamber was silent as Ambassador Chris Williams entered. The once proud leaders now sat with their heads bowed, their forearms clasped in gestures of submission. "High Counselor Zaxxon," Chris began, his voice firm, but not cruel. "Earth accepts your request for negotiations." Zaxxon looked up, hope mixed with fear in his glowing eyes. "We surrender unconditionally. Please, Ambassador, make the nightmares stop." Chris placed a datapad on the table. "These are our terms. Sign them, and the psychological operations will cease immediately. With shaking hands, Zaxxon signed the treaty. The other counselors followed quickly, eager to end their torment. Meanwhile, Major Elizabeth Rodriguez led an investigation team through Catharian military facilities. What they found made even hardened soldiers sick. "Sir, we've discovered evidence of systematic war crimes," she reported to Admiral Johnson. "Not just against humans. They've been terrorizing smaller civilizations for decades. In one facility, they found records of experiments on peaceful species. In another, plans for genocide against races deemed inferior. The Catharians had been monsters long before they met humans." General Tony Martinez reviewed the evidence with Captain Miller. "We could use this to justify continuing the campaign," he said thoughtfully. Jake shook his head. "No, we've made our point. Now we show them what makes humans different." "Mercy?" Tony asked. "Justice," Jake corrected. "And redemption." The human fleet began standing down. Psychological operations ceased. Catharian soldiers emerged from their barracks, blinking in confusion as the nightmares faded. But the lesson had been learned. Every Catharian who looked at a human now felt a primal fear, a deep understanding that these seemingly fragile beings possessed terrifying power. Ambassador Williams addressed the Galactic Council. "The Catharian Empire has signed a complete surrender. They will pay reparations to all affected species. Their military will be reduced. Their war criminals will face trial." The Vexian ambassador clicked his mandibles. "And what of vengeance? Will humans occupy their worlds?" "No," Chris replied. "We'll help them rebuild. We'll teach them a better way." Murmurs of surprise rippled through the council chamber. This wasn't how galactic politics usually worked. "You would show kindness to those who tortured your people?" the Draconian ambassador asked. "Kindness, no. Wisdom, yes. If we destroy them, we become like them. If we help them change, we create a better galaxy." On the Catharian homeworld, human aid workers arrived with medical supplies and food. The Catharians cowered at first, expecting more psychological torture. Instead, they found humans offering help. Dr. Laura Phillips treated Catharian children who had been traumatized by the nightmares. Engineer Bob Chen helped repair damaged infrastructure. High Counselor Zaxxon watched in confusion as humans worked alongside his people. "I don't understand," he confessed to Captain Miller. "We tortured your diplomats. We planned to invade Earth. Why help us?" Jake looked at the alien leader. "Because that's what makes us human. We can be terrible when pushed to it. We can create nightmares beyond imagination, but we choose not to, unless forced. The special hell you spoke of is always there," Jake finished. "A last resort. A reminder of what we could do but choose not to. That choice is what defines us." Months passed. The Catharian Empire transformed under human guidance. War criminals faced justice. The military became a defensive force. The culture began to value cooperation over dominance. Other species watched in amazement. The humans had defeated a powerful empire without destroying it. They had used fear as a surgical tool, then put it away when the job was done. General Martinez stood with Ambassador Williams as they watched Catharian and human children playing together. "Think they'll remember the lesson?" "They'll never forget," Chris replied. "Every Catharian child will grow up knowing about humanity's dual nature, our capacity for creation and destruction, our special hell, and our choice not to use it." The galaxy had learned something profound. Humans weren't just another species. They were the ones who carried hell within them but chose heaven instead. 2 years had passed since the Catharian surrender. The galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. Ambassador Julie Chen stood before the Galactic Council, presenting the annual report on Catharian rehabilitation. "Their military academies now teach defensive tactics and peacekeeping," she explained. "Their scientists work on medical research instead of weapons. Their culture is transforming." The Morian ambassador's crystalline form pulsed with curiosity. "And what of their fear of humans?" Julie smiled slightly. "It remains, but it has evolved into respect. They understand now what we are capable of, and more importantly, what we choose not to do." On the Catharian homeworld, former High Counselor Zaxxon worked alongside human advisors. He had become an advocate for peace, traveling to other worlds, to share his people's story. We were arrogant, he told a gathering of young Catharians. We thought strength meant domination. The humans taught us that true strength is in restraint. One young Catharian raised a trembling hand. But sir, what if someone attacks us now? We're weaker than before. Captain Carl Thompson, who was visiting as part of a cultural exchange, stepped forward. You're not weaker, you're wiser. And if anyone attacks you now, they'll have to deal with us. The young Catharians looked at each other. The humans' words were both comforting and terrifying. In Earth's military command, General Susan Lee reviewed the new protocols. The Human Protection Doctrine had been formalized, laying out exactly when and how humanity would respond to threats. Level 1, diplomatic pressure. Level 2, economic sanctions. Level 3, military intervention, she read aloud. Level 4, psychological warfare, the Special Hell Protocol. Her aide, Lieutenant Peter Wong, asked, has any species tested these protocols since the Catharian incident? Susan shook her head. No one dares. The story has spread across the galaxy. They call it the Nightmare War now. The reputation had unexpected benefits. Pirates avoided human trade routes. Aggressive empires reconsidered expansion plans. Even ancient civilizations treated human diplomats with newfound respect. But not everyone was happy with humanity's new status. The Zorax Empire, known for their brutality, saw humans as a threat to their dominance. There's still just one species, growled Emperor Korval. Their trick worked once, it won't work again. His advisors exchanged nervous glances. They had studied the Catharian incident carefully. They knew it wasn't just a trick. When a Zorax fleet approached human space, they received a simple message. Turn back. This is your only warning. Emperor Korval laughed. Let them try their mind games. We are prepared. But preparation meant nothing when every Zorax warrior suddenly experienced their deepest fears. Unlike the Catharians, the Zorax had been warned. They knew what humans could do. That knowledge made it worse. The psychological attack lasted exactly 5 minutes. When it ended, the Zorax fleet was in full retreat. Ambassador Chen addressed the Emperor via hologram. We could have destroyed you. We chose not to. Learn from this mercy. The incident reinforced humanity's reputation. Species across the galaxy began adopting human philosophical concepts. Peace through strength, power through restraint. The idea that the most dangerous beings were those who chose not to use their full capabilities. Commander Julie Chen established the Galactic Peace Institute, where representatives from all species could learn human conflict resolution techniques. Former enemies sat together, studying how to avoid war rather than win it. Catharian teachers became some of the Institute's most passionate instructors. They had experienced humanity's dark side and lived to tell about it. Their testimony carried weight. The humans showed us hell, Zaxxon would tell his students. But more importantly, they showed us how to climb out of it. They taught us that having power means nothing. Choosing how to use it means everything. The galaxy had found its peacekeepers, not through force but through fear of what humans could do, balanced by admiration for what they chose not to do. 10 years had passed since the day humanity showed the galaxy its darker side. Ambassador Daniel Baker sat in the Galactic Council chamber, mediating a dispute between two young species who had never heard of the Nightmare War. The Velkari have violated our territory, shouted the Thaxian representative. They provoked us first, the Velkari ambassador fired back. Daniel raised his hand for silence. Behind him, a Catharian advisor named Vexlor, son of the former High Counselor, leaned forward to whisper something. Honored representatives, Daniel began calmly. Before this escalates, let me remind you where we are. This council exists because species learn to talk instead of fight, the Velkari ambassador sneered. Easy for humans to say. You're protected by your reputation. Vexlor stepped forward. May I speak? Daniel nodded, and the Catharian addressed the assembly. 10 years ago, my people thought as you do now. We believed might made right. We took human diplomats hostage, we tortured them. The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew this story, but hearing it firsthand was different. The humans could have destroyed us, Vexler continued. Instead, they showed us our own darkness. They made us face our fears. Then when we were broken, they helped us rebuild. The Thaxian representative shifted uncomfortably. We've heard the stories. Nightmares made real. Minds broken without a shot fired. The stories are true, Daniel confirmed. But here's what they don't tell you. We hate using that power. We developed it as a last resort, hoping we'd never need it. Across the galaxy, human aid workers continued their mission. Dr. Karen White ran a hospital on a former Catharian colony, treating patients from dozens of species. Her staff included both humans and Catharians working side by side. Remember, she told her interns, we heal bodies and minds here. The war may be over, but its lessons remain. One young Catharian doctor, Crixel, asked, Dr. White, do humans still have those weapons? The ones that create nightmares? Karen paused in her work. Yes, but we pray we never have to use them again. In the depths of space, Lieutenant Commander Sean Adams patrolled the border regions. His ship, the USS Guardian, responded to distress, calls from any species. Pirates and raiders had learned to flee at the sight of human vessels. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we're picking up a distress signal. Civilian transport under attack. Set course to intercept, Sean ordered. Send a message to the attackers. Stand down or face consequences. The pirates, a mixed crew from various species, debated their options. Their captain had heard the stories. It's just one human ship, a crew member argued. One human ship is enough, the captain replied, ordering retreat. I'd rather live as a coward than die in a nightmare. Back at the Galactic Council, the Velkari and Thaxian representatives had agreed to human mediation. As they signed peace accords, Daniel reflected on humanity's role in the galaxy. We've become the guardians, he mused to Vexler, not through strength but through fear of our restraint failing. Is that not a burden? The Catharian asked. It is, but it's one we choose to bear. That evening, children from multiple species played in the council gardens. Human children taught alien friends games from Earth while learning new ones in return. Parents watched nervously at first, then relaxed as they saw genuine friendship forming. An old Maurian philosopher observed, the scene, this is humanity's true power, he told his students. Not the nightmares they can create, but the dreams they inspire. They showed the galaxy that even the darkest power can be leashed by wisdom. As the stars shone overhead, the legend lived on. Throughout the galaxy, beings whispered the warning, never anger the humans, for they have a special place in hell, and they're willing to show you the way there. But they also whispered something else. But if you seek peace, if you need help, if you want to build rather than destroy, the humans will stand with you. For in the end, that was humanity's greatest power, the choice between darkness and light, and the wisdom to know which to use.